Deb, we made a breakthrough this week. Can you share it with us?
Oh, you mean about the white water?
Yeah.
Well, we found out that the white water image that is on the satellite picture, that is the image of white water that flows, looks like white water flowing through the forest. That is the same location as the Google image that, to my knowledge, was taken 10 years prior to that image. Now, we don't know the exact time scale, but we know it's the general area. In fact, I'd say within probably a few hundred yards of the same area as the Google image. So that's another thing about that image that was running through the forest, that's shape, that what people would think is white water, is first of all you have to understand that there is no white water in the Amazon. That's on our previous expedition.
Well, certainly there's none in the Napo Amazon Confluence, not at all.
It's on an island, so there couldn't be any white water. Not only that, if you look closely at that image going through the forest, you'll see that there's a triangle there, a white triangle. Now, water, to my knowledge, it's very, very unusual for water, if it's roaring, fast-moving water, to make an actual triangle. Maybe it can be done, but I think it's very unlikely. So that there is basically the I believe the shed skin of a huge snake. Although, as I say, there's a big time scale difference.
Yeah, I know we've actually said that from before and from very early on. Absurd as it sounds. But the important thing is that the coordinates that have been confirmed show that what looks like white water, we even call it the white water shot, right, for the sake of ease of reference, is actually the same coordinates as the head of the snake shape in the Google Earth image. Now we got strange stuff going on here. And we don't have all the answers, but there's something strange going on down in the Amazon.
But there's also other questions we don't have the answer to, and maybe biologists do. And one of them, first of all, we know that the snake, the black boa or the yakumama or the sachamama, can take in water, engorge water into itself, and can actually shoot a monkey out of a tree. Strange as that may sound, the locals say this can be done. However, how much water can it take into itself? Because we're dealing with a huge weight here. We're wondering, is it possible that a snake can take so much water into itself that if it makes a ditch because of its huge weight on the sediment of that island, that it can actually fill it up with water that it's engorged into itself? Because to me, it seems to me that the snake would have to take it into its stomach.
Yeah.
And
hence
so
the tribes talking about the snake that carries its water with it.
And the locals say it carries its water with it. But
it's referred to as a gargler.
How much water does it carry? And I tell you what I did hear about in Africa, the Lao, they said it actually, they could hear the gurgling of this creature as it moved along. Now, when the natives heard this, they took off rapidly in the opposite direction, and they must also be aware of the fact that this thing can actually shoot water. So they know the danger of being close to it. But if it was gurgling when it was moving along, that seems to me to be an awful lot of water inside.
Absolutely.
Would do that.
And that leads on to all sorts of things. Now, we've kind of put some things together, and if all these things are correct, it may even answer, and we realize that there are scientific problems with the size of this snake, but if it can engorge water and shoot it out, then it can engorge water and possibly support its musculoskeletal system as it moves.
Yeah.
No?
But, well, the point is, you see, it depends on how big the stomach is. You know what I mean? A skeletal structure of a snake. How big is the stomach area of this snake? We don't know the answer to that question.
Was it wouldn't just be in, theoretically, it wouldn't just be in the stomach, would it?
Don't know the answer to that question either. If it was a Sicilian, now a Sicilian could do that. But this snake, it really does seem to be an actual snake. And that's not a Sicilian. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, you can see it happening with a Sicilian, but not with a snake. And
There's some answers we're not going to have until we drive this thing out of the jungle and find out, and, you know, maybe get those DNA samples.
That's right. That's what we have to do. There are things that we have to answer, and that is, for example, Moronicacha. What happened there? What happened at Nueva Tacna? I think the clue lays with Moronicacha, because here was Dolores Shuna having a bath in the lake, and this snake drags an island over, knocks over her house. They had to get out of there in a boat. The reason it knocked that house over, I do believe, is because it didn't like the fact that human scent or human pheromones were covering over its pheromones. See, it must let go. Dolores Shuna herself said that they had smelt the fact that an anaconda or a snake was in the general area. I didn't know that. There's one thing I didn't know. I didn't know you could smell whether a snake was around or not, but obviously you can. That scientists from Venezuela would be able to tell you that answer, that you can, you know, like Dolores Shuna said.
Mm.
So it must be that a human scent, which I do know that these snakes, they do not like it at all. They get as far away from humans as possible. The only problem is with Moronicacha, like you rightly said, it's the city of Iquitos moved out and surrounded this snake's habitat. And
Or at
so
least moved into it.
No, I don't.
It borders it.
Oh, well, it borders it, yeah. And the snake didn't like the idea that her house was covering over its, like I say, its pheromones. Now, another thing too, at Nueva Tacna, this snake had been laying under the ground, according to locals now, for many, many years. In fact, one commenter said it was for decades. And then they had a football match down there. Now I figure there's also comments from people that have seen it that it has ears. Now we know that a snake, as far as I know, doesn't have ears in general, but they say it's either horns or ears,
Yeah.
or as you say, maybe antenna.
But these things,
But
if you put them all
to finish what I'm going to say here. The point is,
why don't you say what you want to say
well,
then?
I'm going to say this, that when that football match was on, there was an awful lot of people in that general area of where that snake was resting. So this is what might have moved it. Hearing the noise or smelling the scent of humans.
We need to check into that. It's in the report somewhere from Victor Zaya, but I think it was in the hundreds. I think it was a regional football match that was going on there. But if we're dealing with a snake with ears, a snake which sleeps for years at a time, a snake of monumental proportions, a snake that can shoot water and engorge water, if all these anecdotal things that come together, we can't really seriously be thinking about a green anaconda anymore.
No, absolutely not.
And
Absolutely.
As extraordinary as that may seem, it's all pointing towards a species that's currently unknown to science, and it's big.
Yeah.
And that'll make it quite amazing.
Yeah.
Now we've got to get a plan to go down there in
Get
August.
DNA maybe from a
Yeah,
snake's
well,
skin.
we have help from the scientists on how to do that, but no, you've got to finish your ground plan to go down there and one, get it on video and drive it out, and two, collect the DNA samples that we need to prove it.
We think we know what kind of chemical we're going to put into the water to get it out of there anyway.
Go on, share it with us. What do you
Well, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a pheromone.
right?
And we think it'll move this snake out of that
Yeah.
situation that it's in, or that position that it's in.
Yeah, and I'm working on an improvised electrical charge as well for the lagoons, aren't I?
If that's possible.
I'll come up with something. Right, thanks very much.
That's
Tune in next time. Bye bye.